Well, this thing is 10, or thereabouts, I don't know, I haven't updated my calendar since 2012. When a console reaches a certain milestone, I like to look back in its long, sometimes short life, and take a look at all the highs and lows that came with it. So let's take a look back at the Wii U's illustrious library and see how far it's come with this. Jesus Christ.
You want this toilet lid? No? Well, what if I do this? I think the value just dropped. Nintendo Land was a launch title for the Wii U, which is probably the saddest way I've ever seen something get put down.
I'm sorry.
It was a minigame collection designed to show off how the Wii U gamepad could utilise asymmetrical multiplayer, with one person doing something on the gamepad and others fighting them off on the TV. Sort of like how the Wii Remote was originally shown off through the pack-in title Wii Sports. The entire game was designed around swinging your Wii Remote like a tennis racket, swinging your Wii Remote like boxing gloves, swinging your Wii Remote at the TV. Or how am I meant to fully enjoy Nintendo Land now?
By doing this. Okay, so maybe that's a bit of an over-exaggeration. I think Nintendo Land is worth a fair shot, just as Wii Play was. Only that did overhydrate me last time.
Well, now we know what the system was rated out of.
We'll just forget about rating things this time. Tonight, I need a look back at Nintendo Land, fully uncompromised with no cut corners. Except maybe that cut corner. I can't invite people around to my TV like this, and I won't be able to repair it for at least a week. So it looks like I've got no choice but to bite the bullet and play Nintendo Land solo. It's a big risk. My doctor always warned me of the effects of playing cooperative minigames solo. But there are solo minigames in Nintendo Land. I'm sure it'll balance itself out. Some may call it a pathetic excuse for not having friends, but I just call it...
So in Nintendo Land, we're introduced to Nintendo Land.
What a shock.
Our tour guide, Monita, walks us through how to use the Wii U gamepad. Very basic stuff like motion controls, using the touchscreen, and moving. It all works fine, but I never understood why the TV screen crops around the gamepad while you rotate it. Or why I can even rotate it like this at all. Feels like I'm recording a school fight with some of this footage.
Kill him! Kill him!
We get acquainted with the second mystery box of the day. Minecraft content creators are going absolutely apeshit over this game. Rah! Ubisoft Tower jump scare! And just like that, full control over what minigame we enter first. That was a suspiciously short tutorial, but I guess I'll go with Ninja Castle first. Ever since I watched Ninjago as a young kid, it's always been my dream to be a LEGO character, so maybe this can be a good gateway drug. I first remember seeing Ninja Castle in the Wii U reveal trailer at E3 2011, though looking back at it, this was definitely more like Ninja Castle in its spotty preteen era rather than its post-pubescent matured final form.
If I told that analogy to a random person on the street, I'd probably be jailed.
Obviously, every Nintendo Land minigame is centered around doing something totally wacky and silly with the gamepad. Hold it vertically, use just the touchscreen, use it as a chopping board, swing it to use motion controls. It's a surprisingly very multi-purpose tool when you break it down. So when Ninja Castle makes us turn the gamepad horizontally and swipe on the touchscreen to throw ninja stars, it definitely feels like the game channeling its inner Wii Play. But moving on, Ninja Castle has us facing up against opposing ninjas who have captured our darling Monita, because what the f*** would I be doing without my darling Monita? Did not expect horse tranquilizer to be the answer. I'm not gonna lie, I had a surprising amount of fun with this one. The controls were way better than what I was expecting, though I'd be lying if I didn't say holding the gamepad upright constantly like that wasn't a little cumbersome. Still, it's a neat idea and it's a great way to implement a little Famicom representation in Nintendo Land. Ah yeah, should have mentioned that. Every minigame here is based on a Nintendo-based IP, mostly relevant ones like Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, but there are definitely a few obscure ones buried in there. Speaking of which, there's an F-Zero minigame.
I am so sorry for your loss. But I am correct.
But before we can get to that, Monita wants us to gamble. This is just a little arcade-style game you can play to earn some figures in the plaza. It reminds me a lot of that Badge Arcade downloadable title from the 3DS eShop, only less microtransaction hungry this time. Still doesn't mean I want to play it though. Let's get back to the actual content though. Captain Falcon's Twister Race. F-Zero fans, just remember, this is as good as it's gonna get. It's another case of rotating the gamepad vertically. We're gonna be viewing our racer from a top-down perspective and steering with motion controls. It's not the worst.
And on the list of top 10 compliments I would like to be given to me list, I'm going to give that a... did not finish.
I don't know, it just never felt fully thought out. Whenever you go into a tunnel, you have to look at the TV to actually see inside, which stinks of a design flaw in my opinion. Why even force us to look at the gamepad screen if you're not going to let us stay like that permanently? This could have been the perfect game to show off how the Wii U can be used without a TV. If they just made the roofs of these tunnels go translucent when we go under them, then full gamepad support would have worked without a hitch. But instead, they just make us look at the TV for no reason. Why? It's hardly the worst case of what I like to call asymmetrical overload, where a game forces you to keep looking up and down from your TV to your Wii U gamepad screen for no reason, but still, it just feels unnecessary.
That's sort of a running theme of this game, parts of it feeling unnecessary. Not the game itself, mind, this was absolutely vital for proving that the gamepad was worth more than a nickel, but some of the control decisions just had me thinking, Really? Did we really have to use the gamepad here? Could we at least commit to using the gamepad here? Because in all honesty, not committing to overusing a gimmick pisses me off more than just straight up overusing a gimmick. If you're gonna have me swing the gamepad vertically and launch it from left to right to turn, at least let me only look at the gamepad. Stop making me look up at the TV. I don't want a cold dose of reality.
Oh, and also, for what's essentially a tribute to F-Zero, this game feels slow. Like seriously, F-Zero is known for its intense high-speed racing. Manito literally introduces Twister Race as an intense high-speed race, but it feels slower than Mario Kart. The concept is good, but it's a car crash of an execution. Speaking of executions, F-Zero after the GameCube. I think that was one dig too far, but maybe this angry mob will let me live long enough to tell them about Balloon Trip Breeze. So here's Nintendo's tribute to Balloon Fight from the NES with 100% less gamepad rotation. This minigame puts the touchscreen front and center. We can swipe anywhere on the screen to blow gusts of wind at our character while looking at the TV. We can also tap certain enemies to destroy them, which does create a little asymmetrical overload. I found it a little hard to keep focus on destroying enemies while blowing wind to keep myself steady. Say it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Skill issue.
But other than that, this was a great time. It's probably the only one of these minigames in the collection that I could see myself coming back to regularly. The afternoon, evening and night cycle was a neat touch too. I like touching down on this little podium at the end of each stage. The difficulty curve was nice and the level design and overall concept all felt good. I really don't have much more to say, which is weird because for an idea like this, no matter how simple, I thought I would. But it doesn't matter. Balloon Trip Breeze was a neat little time and it was definitely made better by not involving Manita at all, for fuck's sake.
Look, I get the tutorials before minigames, but come on, I don't need an update to the big Ubisoft tower every 5 minutes.
To be fair, what they give isn't that bad this time. Better than a pointless minigame within a minigame collection anyways. When you break it down, this thing is practically a mini-minigame. A micro-game, if you will.
Well, my doctor said 3 inches didn't count.
Now I have this menu, I can do all sorts of things. Holy shit. At least it organises everything so I know what minigames to go to next and what ones to avoid like the plague. It makes me realise that there are a surprising amount of single player minigames in this game. I always thought of Nintendo Land as more of a social or partying game, something to whip out of a family function for grandma to mess around with for half an hour or so. But there's a lot more dedication to pure single player content than I thought.
Maybe because half the minigames are just tech demos. Gee, where have I heard that one before?
Okay, gotta stop stalling. Let's move on to Yoshi's Fruit Cart.
That's just the name of my car.
Take a wild guess at what series Yoshi's Fruit Cart might be dedicated to. Spoiler alert, you're wrong. It's Heartstopper. Another touchscreen based minigame. This time we need to guide this Yoshi themed death trap to each piece of fruit before booking it towards the exit door. Gotta grab each piece of fruit before going to the door, you'll lose a life. I really wish that sentence was more threatening than it is in practice because holy shit, this one is easy. The trick is that most of the backgrounds for each level have some kind of pattern on them, so it's incredibly easy to just take Yoshi and have his track match up to where the fruit is. It's not even a continuous line challenge, you could just pick up your stylus and put it back down again when you need to. Look at me, I could sketch the solution to this level.
I'm drawing a cry for help.
I think it goes beyond just matching up patterns too. This is the only minigame where I really noticed one-ups and other items coming in thick and fast. For some weird reason, this minigame in particular felt the most child-proof, as if it was designed to be the first one you play, but the game gives you free reign right out of the box to choose which minigame you're going to first. So what's the point of making this one super easy? For sport? Next up we've got Octopus Dance, a loving tribute to the Octopus Game & Watch handheld from Nintendo's early days. If you take out the loving, and the tribute, and the octopus, and the watch, this is a game. A matching rhythm game to be specific. You move the left and right sticks and shake the gamepad to match this guy to the right of you. So overall, nothing that can only be done with the gamepad. Until a twist! Randomly, you'll be twisted around and face the opposite direction, but the TV and gamepad always show a different orientation to one another, so you'll have to switch between which one you're looking at to find which screen lets you match the inputs the easiest. This is dumb.
Remember when I said parts of this game feel unnecessary? This is what I truly meant. It feels like the more I play, the less justified the gamepad becomes. Before, I was throwing ninja stars all the way from the gamepad to the TV. Now, I'm just looking up and down every 15 seconds like I'm a yes man who just got a new promotion.
When I started Octopus Dance, I didn't realise that the game turns on the gamepad's camera. The moment my face appeared, the gamepad started to disconnect. I see that as a sign. Let's get out of here and move on to Donkey Kong Crash Course.
Oh shit, it's not a mini Smart Again game?
Believe it or not, in Donkey Kong Crash Course, we fucking crash. We have this small fragile toy that breaks apart whenever you ram it into a wall, decapitate it for fun, or just look at it funny. It's like my grandpa. The goal is to make it to the end. I didn't. The end. Let's wrap it up now.
Okay, no. Surely I can think of something else to say here. It reminded me of a Kirby game for some reason. Oh, here's something you haven't heard before. The gamepad feels unnecessary here. It's just another tilting minigame, which suggests to me that the developers are starting to run out of ideas on how to use the gamepad. Most of the minigames boil down to use the touchscreen, use the motion controls, or make them a ninja. And for a game made to sell your shiny new controller, it's not the greatest look. But nevertheless, that's all the solo minigames done. Some were good, some were meh, all of them convinced me not to buy a Wii U. I might be a little late to that party.
But just before I eject the disc and destroy it for other people's safety, there are 3 more minigames in this collection that I could play. The Legend of Zelda Battle Quest, Metroid Blast, and Pikmin Adventure.
Now, while these games offer a solo mode, they were designed with 2 to 5 players in mind. I'm missing 1 to 4 of those guys. But thankfully, Nintendo offers a list of side effects when playing these games solo. Let's take a look. Increased blood pressure, heart palpitations, skin disease, dyspraxia, overheating, hypothermia, yada yada yada, let's go on with it.
The Legend of Zelda Battle Quest is up first, very simple to start with, we choose how many enemies we want to face and then shoot arrows at them. It's the perfect way to settle international debates. You throw the gamepad down to reload, which doesn't feel excellent per se, but it does the job, and once you've defeated your enemies, that's it.
There's unlimited arrows too, so there's not actually a lot of challenge involved when it comes to defeating your enemies. Why worry about wasting my shots if I know I have unlimited shots? It's good, it just didn't live up to what I thought a cooperative minigame was going to be in this collection. It felt like they were going to be much more fleshed out than the solo minigames, but I guess not.
Feeling alright so far, let's move into Pikmin Adventure next, which is almost exactly like a Pikmin game.
Ugh, okay, the side effects are clearly affecting my ability to think straight.
You collect Pikmin, throw them onto enemies, watch them die, lift off in the SS Dolphin. Am I wrong for saying these are pretty much the core values of a Pikmin game? Was it a test for Pikmin 3 on Wii U and how that could run or feel? I don't know, but this definitely feels like the most fleshed out minigame of them all. You can level up your Pikmin, fight actual bosses, it has the basics nailed down here through multiple stages too. You know what? This is probably my favourite minigame so far. Only took us 8 tries to find it.
Alright, only 1 more to go and it's Metroid Blast. Oh, I wonder what it's going to be like. Maybe a smaller scale Metroid Prime where I have to fight to restore my armour, or maybe a Bus Rush style minigame where people can drop in and support me. I don't know what it could be like, so let's take a look. Ugh. Oh god. Be the first side effect of playing the cooperative minigame solo. They're finally kicking in. Let's keep playing. Oh, for fuck's sake, this is like the 3rd time this year I've been hospitalised. Well, Nintendo Land did almost kill me, and I couldn't even finish it because of this illness I picked up. But it was still a fun time. There were definite low points, and there was this constant feeling of the game trying also hard to justify the existence of a Wii U gamepad. But there were some good uses of the technology in there. It's unfortunate I wasn't able to finish this game. Maybe at some point I'll come back and I'll finish what I started. But for now, I'm glad I managed to pay tribute to this console's legacy. And hey, now that I'm somewhat better, I could go back and I could finish some other games in this console's library. Coming right up, Mario Party 10.